I'm going to continue this apple drawing. My video stopped because somebody called me. So I've got the outline of this shape that started to become a form. And I'm just going to continue. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this particular drawing, but I just want to show you a way to start putting some form using contour lines and shading. So the apple has natural little contour lines on it, little places where there's little differences in color that you can use to kind of show the shape. So that's what I'm kind of using. It's a natural contour line that's on the apple. And I'm just going to put a few of them in just to kind of create an illusion, create an impression of a realistic form. There's also some little blemishes that might kind of make it. So I've got this line right here, which is where there's a reflection, and so I don't want to draw too dark over that. And I don't really want to draw too dark around it either, because it's just a subtle difference in tone and value. And I don't want to draw the shadow too dark, and I also don't want to draw the apple behind the shadow too dark. So I'm trying to hold this pencil pretty lightly and still give it some definition. It's kind of dusty down in there. I don't think I'm going to draw the dust. Apple dust or whatever. But I'm trying to draw the lines that put in the form in a way that shows the contour, shows the shape. So that's contour lines. Okay, and then this reflection is really subtle. It might not even be very clear in the final drawing that I am doing a reflection, but it's just an area of lighter where the light hits. Okay, and so in your drawing you can go for more realism than I'm going for, or you can try a slightly different strategy, but the goal is to look at the thing you're drawing, pay attention to the lines, pay attention to the light, and then you end up with something that looks, hopefully, something like the thing you were trying to draw. And every artist gets to decide when it looks enough like it, or what liberties to take in as far as what to change. You know, you learn little tricks for making things look more realistic, or for making them some little tricks to like draw reflections without having to overly analyze the thing you're looking at. All right, so I'm going to sharpen the line a little bit. This is a reflection line, and the edge on this apple is, it's actually light. So I'm still gonna put a line there just to help myself see where that edge of the apple is, and then it'll contrast with the shadow that I'm gonna draw next. And this reflection kind of continues down over here. So I might make that the edge of the apple, and I might make the shadow come down here, or I might keep that reflection looking. But I think I'm gonna go ahead and put in the shape of the shadow, and there's a double shadow, if you want to call it that. It's kind of an elliptical shape because there's lights coming from this way and also from that way. Yeah. And there's like 2 layers of shadow on the part coming this way. If you draw something too dark, you can erase it, but sometimes it's nice to not have to do that, so I'm trying not to draw these shadows too dark, but I want to delineate where they sit kind of accurately. And then I'm going to just take the pencil on its side, and I have a pretty soft pencil and it's pretty well sharpened, so it's easy for me to fill it in on its side. You might need to sharpen your pencil more. Some of you might be using a lead pencil, and by lead I mean one of those tiny skinny little mechanical pencils. If you're doing that, this is going to be difficult. You might want to get a regular old pencil, a number 2, or an art pencil. This is a Prismacolor Ebony that I'm using. It's nice and soft, and it's sharpened well, so it's got a nice big lead. And I'm going to darken this part. I'm putting the shadow now because it's going to help me make some decisions on how much I want to show the reflection on that edge, how much I want to just turn it into shadow, more shadow. Don't worry if you're just starting and just learning how to draw about getting all the details just so. Start with trying to pay attention to the big picture, the big shapes and the big value differences, the darks and lights, in such a way that you don't want to stress yourself out too much. And I don't want to stress myself out either. I want this to be fun for me too. If it's not, then we have problems. Drawing is not meant to be suffering. Sometimes it can be. Especially if you commit to doing something and then you get kind of in the weeds of it and you'd rather do something else, you'd rather draw something else or play in a different way. I think the ideal state of mind is this is playing. You want to be in a creative space in your mind where it's really just like you're a child in the wonder of life, just looking at something and stopping and saying, wow, isn't that amazing? Isn't that neat? Aren't those little blemishes on the apple interesting? Alright, I'm not crazy about my shadow right now. I might come back and refine it some more later. I don't know that I will. But now that I have, I am going to fix that part. Now that I have a little bit of value there where the shadow is, and I'm going to erase the edge a little bit. Now I also can use this, oh look at that. Sometimes the eraser's too smudgy because it already had lead on it, and I should have told myself, take the eraser and get it clean. Right? If your eraser's smudgy, it's not going to do what it's supposed to do. It ends up being like a pencil if there's too much lead on it. So that's what happened there. Make this one take care of that. And be careful with your fingers on your drawing too. Your fingers can also smudge. So that's a little more smudgy than I want it to be. The softer your lead, the more smudge you got to be aware of. And that's another reason why some people just like to use mechanical pencils and hard pencils, because this smudging doesn't happen as much. It's a little cleaner. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and keep this reflection line here. Darken the shadow a little there, a little bit there, and so that'll be the edge of the apple. All right, I'm going to put a little more contour lines down here, coming up to this reflected area. Over there. You know what? I moved my apple. Sorry about that. I moved your apple too, didn't I? That wasn't very nice. I think that's kind of where it was at the beginning. Sorry about that. I don't want to spend too much more time on this. I want to wrap it up. So, there's a better way to get rid of eraser marks. It's using a little brush is better. I just don't know where my brush is right now. It's probably just behind me or something. But there's another layer of shadow over here. I don't know. I'm gonna put it in or not. Probably not. go ahead and draw some of these blemishes. Just apples usually have a little bit of personality, so why not put some of it in there? Okay, so I've been holding the pencil pretty loosely throughout most of this. And you can hold the pencil sideways. You can hold it real tight when you're doing details. Don't hold it too tight, but I mean, you know, kind of upright. Okay, and now is where kind of the personal liberty comes in, where there's some reflections on this apple that I've drawn, and some of them I'm not drawing. I want it to look like that apple, but I also want it to look like my own version of an apple. So I want to just put some little shadow areas down here that maybe aren't necessarily as prominent on the original, and I want to put in some contour lines to finish out the shaping. Just a little bit. Darken some of that. Some more. Keep some reflection over there. And I'm gonna add that one more little shadow area up here, just because I felt like it. Okay, so this ended up being a longer drawing than I intended it for it to be, and I hope I didn't discourage anybody. I hope I stuff going on here. I don't like it, but I don't want to keep on. I don't want to keep on going. I want to stop this video, and I want to do something else now. So there's an apple, a shape to a form. It started as a circle, and now it's three-dimensional. And I might play with this and work on this some more later and show you, but I'm gonna stop for now.